Hello, people. Welcome to the Cold War Preppers Thursday night fiction book club. Adjusting my leg there in my seat. Oh, wow. I'm about ready to shave all this off. Let me tell you, it's so hard to keep. It gets so thin and so difficult to maintain. It's pitiful. So I hope the camera looks better this evening. We did a little bit of preventive maintenance on the computer. And we'll talk about that as we get more people on. So we've got two. Hello, Diana, too. Welcome. Happy New Year. KP Heathen, welcome. Greetings from Louisiana. I've been researching a lot about gumbo as a potential SHTF food source. And so I've been doing a lot of investigation in different styles. I didn't realize that there were so many styles. New Iberia appears to be the one that's the classic, either that or New Orleans. Little Lone Prepper, welcome. Good to see you. Yes, I am feeling a lot better. Thank you. The voice still isn't here, and my taste hasn't come back all the way yet. But we're making dramatic progress every day as life moves on. So, very happy. Thank you for that thoughtful question. Holly Ivans, welcome. Diana, too. Yep, feeling better. Thank you. I will tell you that the medicine that they gave me, what was it? I forget what it was. 3 pills in the morning, 3 pills in the evening. That it tastes worse than prednisone, I'll tell you that much. And it took a couple of days after I was over it to get the taste out of my mouth. But I guess I should be happy because you could taste something. Karen Lemoine, I hope I said that right. Lemoine, welcome. I haven't seen you before, so welcome. Great group of people in the chat. Feel free. I mean, they're willing to discuss almost anything, and all I ask is that you be kind, polite, and respectful to each other. No name calling or anything like that, and no castigating what they believe or how they believe or anything like that. Celtic Grandma, good evening. Welcome. Sue Me, my favorite Canadian. Welcome. Let me see who else. Okay, that's it. So, what another phenomenal book by Franklin Horton. He just keeps knocking it out of the ballpark with these phenomenal books. So this one is book 3 in the Borrowed World series. I ordered book 4. It is here, and so I can start reading it. This begins my reading for 2024. Let me check here. I really like this notebook. Can't find it anywhere, but it has so much note-taking capability in it. I really loved it from last year. So let me do a count here. Last year I read, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me get my glasses on. Escaping Home by A. America, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3. 33 books, including the Catechism. We did that Catechism in a year. So 2 years ago, I did the Bible in a year with Father Mike Schmitz, and I'm redoing that. So today was day 4, and today was basically Noah and the Ark. And see here, get out my handy-dandy little cheat book, my little cheat book here. Today was day 4, so the flood. So today was basically the flood, and then resting on Mount Ararat and everything after that. So tomorrow we'll get into the Tower of Babel, which is Genesis 10 and 11, and then we'll read Psalm 2. Today we read Psalm 1. So just phenomenal. Just love taking notes and reading this and doing it through. But 33 books last year. My goal this year is 36. So we'll see how we do with that. But the Franklin Horton book series is just absolutely phenomenal. We learn so much, and he weaves it around this fictional character, or this group of fictional characters. Just so happy that whoever recommended him to us. And gosh, it's just phenomenal. So there are 10 points in this book that I really want to kind of cover. And it's jumping around the book a little bit because of the way I organized my notes. But the first one is, he points out, and we've got Jim, Gary, and Alice. No, Jim, Gary, and Rebecca. No. Who is it? Alice comes later. Alice is one of the ones that got away. But and Rebecca got killed. Anyhow, the three of them finally make it home. And so they're in the process of readjusting and getting home and everything else. But one of the things that I think is critical that they talk about is always carry. Hello, Princess Kicking Butt. Welcome. And so, if you're in an area that allows you to carry concealed at all times. Make sure you have it with you. That just can't be emphasized enough in this book. The other one is being aware of your surroundings while you are carrying, and then having that in a position where you can use it readily. There's a point. They're going through a checkpoint of some sort. Oh, I know what it is. Some bad guys have cut down some limbs and stuff and blocked off the road. And Jim and his crew Gary and his crew are moving over to be with Jim and his crew. And so they go through this area where these brigands have basically blocked off the road, and they're demanding tolls from people, a toll to pass through. And they're kind of drunk and everything else. And they make the mistake of going up and trying to physically accost Alice as she's driving a truck. And she has it in her lap, and she pulls the trigger right through the door, hits the guy in the groin. Of course, that starts the battle. But I think it's critical we understand, if she had not had the weapon there, if she had not taken the action she did, she probably would have been a victim instead of being the survivor that she is. So point number one is always carry. Along with that, later on, I'm going to get into a little bit more detail about it, but know how to use it. I mean, all too often we have people who are purchasing things and then setting them aside and never practice with them, don't know how to use them. Lo and behold, God forbid that you would have a malfunction with the chambering of a round, with a misfire, with a failure to eject, or whatever the case might be. If you have not had exposure to how to handle that by going to the range on a regular basis prior to SHTF, I would hate to see how you're going to handle that in an emergency situation when it's a new occurrence for you after SHTF. So, get some experience in how to handle misfires and failure to ejects and failure to chamber and misfeeds from a magazine and all those other different kinds of things. Get out there and study. Get out there and practice. Get out there and learn how to use the tools that you have purchased that you're going to find necessary. The next one is as Jim, Gary, and doggone it, Jim, Gary, and forget her name. That's terrible. But the three of them go to their office and bed down for the night upstairs. The second floor. Kind of a minor learning here is, most of the people are going to be kind of confined to the first floor. Hello, Triple G Farms. Welcome. So, they find a lot of stuff in the second floor of where their offices were. Now, of course, the first floor was ransacked because of the fact that it was a medical facility and they were looking for drugs, but the second floor was pretty much safe and secure. So they left notes, and for any of the others, Alice, as it turns out, comes in and finds them and finds the food that they left for her and some other things that they've left for her. So she says that basically those messages that they were leaving for her, letting her know that they were thinking about her, that they had things arranged for her and everything else, kind of drove her morale up a lot. and gave her a lot more incentive to live because she knew that other people were looking out for her and had her best interest at heart for them. And then, of course, Gary is going to run into Alice the next day in that same facility. And then the two of them are going to get together, and then they're going to all go towards Jim's place. The third one is radio comms. And make sure you have good radio comms with each other. I'm going to show you what I bought. This was back in July, I think I bought it. Share screen. It was $200, but it was a case of 10, and the name of the company is Retevis. So this is the Retevis GMRS commercial radio system. It's got 10 radios for $200, and it includes 10 charging stations. Now, I got the 10,000 milliamp hour batteries on these. So they say that you can leave them on for 10 days before you have to recharge them. So, that's an awful lot of power as far as being able to keep those there. So imagine how you'll be able to communicate with neighbors around your neighborhood, even if they have not prepared. So the question that I have on with my radios that I purchased was, do I keep 5 of them, since I have whole house solar with battery backup, do I keep 5 of them charging and only give out 4 so that the 5th one of that second set of 5 I'm using, and probably keep it on a charger as well. But do I only give out 4 and keep those other alternates charging, or do I give out all 10 and count on them to be able to charge them themselves with some sort of a small solar or hand crank USB system? I don't know the answer to that. Right as it stands right now, I'm leaning towards I will probably pass out 4, 1 to each corner of the neighborhood, and and then keep the other 5 charging so that I can then trade those out, and I can make sure that they have full charges. But one of the things that they talk about and becomes extremely critical, especially when Gary and his family get attacked and they decide that they want to move in with Jim and his family a little bit, about an hour away at 45 miles an hour, as they have those radio communications so that they can keep in contact with each other and find out what's going on and make arrangements to work together. So I think that having those radio communications for you are going to be critical. Remember John Jacob Schmidt's book, which is the Operator's Journal. Let me look up Amazon here. John Jacob Schmidt. I apologize for my lack of preparation on this one. But he, the Partisan Operators Journal, Volume 1. And he talks about he's trying to get a nationwide coalition of people who are going to be talking on Channel 3 of either CB, FRS, or GMRS. So no matter which one of those 3 systems you have, if you go to Channel 3, then we're going to have AMRON, the AMRRON, American Redoubt Radio Operator Network. And so we're going to try to all communicate on Channel 3. Now, in the book, he also gives specifics about if you're into ham radio, he gives some HF, VHF, and UHF frequencies that we can also transmit on in order to receive each other and pass information on from one community to the next. They talk about that a little bit in Franklin talks about it a little bit in this book. I forget who it is listening in and gets kind of despondent because they're finding out that things in Richmond and DC and other places are even worse than they are where he is. But just even if you don't transmit, if you just have an HF single sideband receiver, And you can get a good one. Let me see. Midland FHF receiver. So here's a good HF transceiver for receiver for $88 that you can't go wrong with. Let me get back over here and I can share that with you. But at least you would be able to hear what's going on around you. You may not necessarily be able to talk, but at least you can hear things that are going on. Now remember, you're going to need a lot better antenna. I can guarantee you that. The antennas that come with these is a little bit on the weak side. You probably would want to have a long wire antenna around your house or a vertical pole antenna. There are some guys here in our local ham club that have taken painter sticks, those expanding painter sticks, and then taped those open and gotten them up 15, 25 feet. And then they'll hang a dipole antenna, which is just basically a naked wire off of the top of it, and do that at a 45-degree angle so that you've got both horizontal and vertical reception. And that's what they're using for their major antennas. So that is something you could seriously do. Spend a little bit of money on the receiver. This one here is only $88, and spend a little bit more money on your antenna, and I think you would do extremely well. I'm not sure if we want to transmit that much in a SHTF environment anyway. Oh no, Butch, welcome. Sorry to hear about your winter storm. My wife and daughter were talking earlier today, and my son-in-law went out to get food and everything. They're in the New York, New Jersey area, and they were talking about the storm coming this weekend, and so they're going out to get stuff to prepare for it this weekend. And we just don't have those here in Central Texas that often, to be totally honest with you. Okay, third point was radio communications. The fourth point is don't become complacent. We get into habits, especially on guard duty. We become complacent. We have the same old routes and everything else. Change your guard routes. What is it? Who is it? Dave. Dave gets killed just before Gary moves into a gym the night before. As a matter of fact, it delays the move out simply because they had their guard duty and they did their standard guard duty. And somebody watching is going to watch if you have those habits. When you have those habits and everything else, and they just snuck up behind him and almost decapitated him. So don't become complacent. Make sure that you're changing how your guard duties are, how your guard mounts go, when they get relieved, what your check-ins are, the routes that you take for your roving guards. Don't get complacent, especially if there's only one of you on that roving guard. It's best to have two together on any kind of a roaming guard because one person is more of a target than anything else. Number 4, that was number 4. Expect the unexpected. Don't become complacent. Number 5, buddy is driven by retribution. So a guy right before SHTF happens, a drug dealer sells his daughter some bad drugs. It kills her. And so he's going to go out for retribution and get the guys who basically killed his daughter. And he does. And, that's fine. Understand that there's going to be an awful lot of taking the law into our own hands in a post-apocalyptic world, in a post-SHTF world. Now, one of the things our catechism teaches is we are opposed to the death penalty as long as there is a means of incarcerating the person and keeping them as a threat to society away from society. So as long as we have a maximum, super max prison, and we can keep the really, really bad people away from society, then that's good enough. We don't want to execute them. However, in a post-SHTF environment, we aren't going to have the availability of supermaxes or anything like that. So I have a feeling it's going to be back to a Wild West justice type of a scenario, where a punishment is going to be extreme. So it's going to be something else. Don't look forward to it, that's for sure. While y'all are talking about snow, we've had a lot of rain in the last 48 hours. We've had 1.8 inches of rain in the last 48 hours. And yet our highland lakes are still 25 to 30 feet below normal capacity. So the only thing that the 1.8 inches of rain did was fill up about 3 inches in the highland lakes. And so we are still in severe drought conditions here, even after 1.8 inches in the last 2 days. Hopefully we'll get more. We typically get more rain in the winter than we do in the summer. And, so we kind of have to store it up, if you will. But we're going to need we're going to need flood conditions basically to fill up the highland lakes and get off of our water conservation issues here. The next one is don't give up. So just before Gary and his family move to Jim, as I said, Dave gets caught up. He was on guard duty all by himself. He's killed. His wife, Charlotte, was on guard duty on top of a box truck. She gets assaulted, but she hasn't practiced. She has a 12-gauge pump shotgun. She launches one round, which kills the guy, and he lands on top of her and knocks her off of the box truck. But she pulls the trigger a second time, and nothing happens because she didn't realize she's got to charge another round. She's got a pump shotgun, got to pump another round into there. So that's one of those things you want to make sure you get in the habit. You want that habit to be that it's autonomic, okay? That it's instinctual, that it's a habit, that you aren't even thinking about doing what you're doing. That's what we did in the military. We trained and trained and trained so that it became a habit, an instinct almost. And that's what kept us alive in a lot of situations. Now, Charlotte gets knocked off of the top of a box truck, and I think of a U-Haul type of a box truck when I think of this, and it's got an easy lift on the back and everything else. So that's what kind of gives me that opinion. And she gets knocked off of it, and she's got this 200-pound guy on top of her, and she lands. So of course there's going to be a little bit of trauma from landing with this guy on top of you and everything else. And then she discovers that her husband's just been killed. So she goes into a catatonic state almost. Number one, from the physical trauma. Number two, from the emotional trauma of losing her husband. So as we end the book, she is thinking about she doesn't have anything to live for. And she forgets that she has 2 children, but she's giving up on life. And they're trying to get her re-engaged with her children to give her a reason for living. And she is not seeing that. She's giving up on life because she's lost her husband. And so one of the things we have to be aware of is how are we going to handle some of the extreme bad things that are going to be happening to us in a post-traumatic world, or a post-apocalyptic world, post-SHTF world. People are going to die. Loved ones are going to die. We're going to suffer. There's going to be suffering. There's going to be pain. There's going to be emotional trauma. There's going to be physical trauma. There's going to be all kinds of things going on. And how are we going to deal with that? That's one of those subjects that really concerns me. And so, you got Prepper Dog, you've got Prepping with Sarge, you've got Sassy Gal Prepping. All 3 of those are psychologists and social workers, and they work with people and help them to adjust to dramatic situations. And so I ask them, I keep them, right at arm's length, because how are we going to come up with keeping our sanity as we see these things happening, bad things happening around us on a regular, ongoing basis? So one of the reasons there are 2 reasons I really love the cold weather. Number one is eggnog. But number 2 is hot chocolate. Oh gosh. My wife heard me boiling some water. She looked at me, she says, "Hot chocolate time?" And I said, "Oh yeah." Swiss Miss. Buy it by the number 10 can. I probably have 3 or 4 in storage. I'll rotate out as we go through the winter. Probably go through, a half a number 10 can of winter. And, oh gosh, I'm so addicted to it. I loved it especially when I was in Germany. I really fell in love with German hot chocolate. And that was one of the things I really, really loved. Let me get rid of a bunch of these notifications here. Catch up with the comments in the chat. And let me see here. So you've got basically 2 different kinds of pistols. You've either got revolvers, and that's got the cylinder that goes around, and like the old West. And then starting in about 1911 with the M1911 from Colt, you've got the semi-automatic pistols, and so those have magazines. Usually fit into the handle, and then you pull back, and it can. It used to be hammer fired. Nowadays, it's striker fired. I would prefer Triple G that it stay up there. I would prefer to fill the Highland Lakes. If I had my choice, I could forego any rain happening here where we are if they would put that rain in the Highland Lakes and just fill them up. I think there's an awful lot of people who need that water in the Highland Lakes filled up. Lake Travis, I understand, is 25 feet below normal and 50 feet below max capacity. So, we are suffering down here. So we need those lakes filled up. But yeah, no. Let me check my app here and see what it says. And so it says there is a 100% chance of rain at 9 o'clock, which is in about half an hour. And then it's going to be 55% for the rest of the evening. So yeah, I've never seen 100% chance of rain before on my app, but that's what it says. We'll go with that. That would be nice. Okay. Number 7, Jim is talking with Lloyd. He's talking with Lloyd. He's talking with Gary. He's talking with Buddy, and they ask him, because he's done so much to prepare. He's just got all these preparations, this food. He's got communications equipment. He's got heating equipment and everything else. And they say, "Is there anything that you would do differently now that we're into this by about a couple weeks, a month? Is there anything that you would do different in your planning?" He said, "Yeah, there's 2 things." And then he says he's going to give him 2 things, but he gives him 3. He says, number 1, he would learn a martial art. That he thought it was important that in a lot of the close encounters that they had, he felt that he would have been a lot better off if he knew a martial art. I was thinking about that just the other day before and I had the opportunity when I was younger and on active duty, at Army rec centers, they always had martial arts going on. I wish I had taken advantage of that, but that's hindsight is always 20/20. So I'm actively taking one kind of martial arts now, American cane fighting, and so I'm kind of active into that. I'm also studying a little bit of bow staff, and although bow means staff, so when you say bow staff, it means staff or bow. Same thing with Thai or chai tea latte. Chai is the Russian word, and it's also cha is the Chinese word, and chai is also it's te in Indonesian, but chai is a very common word for tea, meaning tea. So chai tea means tea or chai or whatever. But anyhow, so martial arts. So I'm learning cane fighting, and bow fighting. So then number 2 is to get good tactical weapon training. There are all kinds of special forces, Navy SEALs, Ranger trainers out there. On Tuesday evenings, right before our live, is the tactical rifleman, and he is a retired sergeant major special forces, and he has a tactical rifle course, tactical combat course for both rifles and pistols at his location. I believe he's in Utah. But there's all kinds of great training courses out there, and you can find all kinds of people that are willing to train you. Get some training, understand a little bit about maneuver, understand how to carry a weapon safely, how to have it on point, so that it's locked, safety off, ready to go, but you do it in a safe manner so that you don't take out any of your comrades while you're moving downrange. So, and there are certain ways to do that. So, I would say that taking a course is a lot better than enlisting for 4 years. You'll get that training if you enlist for 4 years, but there are civilian courses you can get that take a lot less time than 4 years. Then the third thing he says he wishes he had done a lot better would have been to have organized his community a lot better. One of the things that he does after just the day before day before Gary arrives with his entourage, is Jim is going down talking to all of his neighbors, getting them on radio communications so that they can start working together, start talking about exchanges. There's this one farming family that's evidently very political. He's having a discussion with them, and they have a herd of cattle. They say, yeah, we're going to start butchering cattle here sometime in the near future. And, we will start trading that for other things, ammunition and things like that. So we already see the beginnings of communicating what people have and are willing to trade for what other people have. Jim is talking about building some cottages, some log cabins. He's talking about building some greenhouses so that they can grow some winter vegetables. So you start thinking about, what is it that I am going to do that is going to add value to my community? And what are they going to do to add value that I need, so that we can then trade and have some sort of a barter system set up? I think that one of the things we see in A. American's books, in Chris Weatherman's books, is we see the formation of markets inside Altoona and Umatilla and the other areas there around in southern Florida where they are. And so we see the emergence of markets and people having booths and selling and trading and doing things. The one thing that's missing, however, is a better understanding of what the common currency is going to be. I know that there's a lot of people who object to talking about precious metals, but it could be that we're going to continue to use U.S. currency. It could be that we're going to continue to use U.S. coinage. It could be that we move over to a precious metals currency. We don't know. What we do know is what we have learned from Selko Begovic in his Year in Hell, is the name of his book, how he survived the Bosnian War. And he talks about the emergence of precious metals as a barter item or a purchase item, a commodity that was a commonly sought out commodity for value. The other one was the U.S. dollar in strange in the Balkans, but the U.S. dollar was the other one. Then we have Manny Ferfal Aguirre, who survived Argentina in 2000 and the financial collapse there. And of course, all the political unrest and everything else that happened. And he says the same thing. He says that American dollars and precious metals became the barter item, the currency of the nation after it fell, because the printed paper, the Argentinian bolivar, had zero value whatsoever. So, all I can say is, think about, how are you going to interact that with others? What are you going to have that's going to be of value for them? So, and here we've got Jim kind of organizing everything and becoming the leader. And that leadership and expertise around tactics, around guard duty, around communications, around planning and logistics, and getting people to understand their value and where they're adding value and how they can continue to add value. That's going to be critically important as well. Number 9, be careful about name dropping. So Jim is coming back. He's done his walk and everything else with the others, with Gary and I can't remember her name, but they've done their walk. So Jim runs into Travis, and Travis is a state trooper, and they went to high school together. Now they went to school and high school together, so they kind of have their interchange. And then Travis lets Jim go through, and Jim goes home. Gary's moving in with Jim, so he's moving basically from one side of the town, an hour drive at 45 miles an hour, to the other side, to a valley. And he says, now you're going to pass Highway 29 and 19 or something like that. And there's a roadblock there. If he's still there, there is a highway patrolman by the name of Travis. And just let him know that you're coming to see me. So when Gary gets up to the point where he talks to Travis, Travis is very skeptical because Travis doesn't like Jim. Jim doesn't like Travis. But nobody tells him, hey, these two guys really don't like each other. And so be careful about name dropping, even pre-SHTF, because when you name drop, you never really know if the other person is as impressed with the name you're dropping as you are. And so sometimes, and it happens here, it has negative consequences because Travis doesn't care that much for Jim. So by Gary dropping Jim's name, it kind of takes things, it goes up a little bit, it goes down a lot. Let's put it that way. So be very cautious about name dropping in a post SHTF environment, although you never know. So you might as well try. Then the last one is Gary goes to the office and he knows that there's an old beat up box truck with a Tommy forklift gate. And so he's going to take that, and that's what he's going to use to move his family from where he lives to move in with Jim. And can't get it to start. So he's found Alice. Alice is there, and the two of them working together. And Alice says, well, it could be that it's diesel and not gas, and you're trying to start a diesel engine instead of a gas engine, and it's an old type. So you may have to get some spray into the piston heads in order to get it to catch. So look behind the seat and see if they have any fuel injector spray. And he does, and it works, and so he gets it to start. Now I had a 2001 Ford F350 with a V8 diesel engine. And to get those spark plugs going, to get the glow plugs going, I probably had to warm it up maybe 30 seconds before I actually ignited it. But you needed to get those glow plugs going. And but anyhow, chances of a diesel engine running in a post-apocalyptic world, especially a post-EMP world, may be a lot easier than a gasoline engine because the gasoline engines have a lot more of the integrated computerized electronics for fuel consumption and better burn and all those kinds of stuff. Whereas earlier model diesels may be a lot easier to run than let's say a gasoline engine is. So those are kind of the main points I wanted to cover about the book. So if you're looking for a vehicle, look for diesel. Diesel may be easier to find, especially in rural environments. You're going to find a lot of farmers have, the 100-gallon or 55-gallon or even larger non-road, they call it agricultural grade diesel. And so all it is it doesn't have a special coloring agent. They mix in an agent so that they can tell if it's been burnt inside. And this is, I forget which way it goes, whether it's the farm implements have this thing that if it's not taxed, it has this additive to it so that they can tell that you're using the non-highly taxed agricultural diesel in a road vehicle, or if it's the other way around. But anyhow, you're going to find out that farmers have an awful lot of diesel stored in and around their farm implements because most of them run on diesel. So, that may be something worth looking into, is if you're going to recover something, you might want to recover something that's diesel. Okay. Any other thoughts or comments about the book that you would like to bring up? So at the end, we've got Jim, Gary, Alice, all those families are together. Buddy, whose daughter was the one who overdosed, and then he went out and got rid of the guys who kind of overdosed his daughter. Lloyd, the friend that we meet in book 2, Jim's friend that he went to high school with as well, the hippie singing barber type character from book 2 makes his appearance in book 3, and he has shown up on Jim's doorstep. So Jim moves him in with Buddy. Buddy, of course, doesn't have any family left with his daughter ODing, and he and Lloyd, who are total opposites, become best friends, and the two of them are getting drunk and drinking and singing together. At the very end, another thing we need to be cautious of. Buddy, of course, sees in Ariel, which is Jim's granddaughter, he sees his daughter. And so he kind of takes a liking to her and takes on this fatherly type of a figure with her. And so he's always, going out of his way to say hi to her and to let her know she looks good and take care of her and everything else. And so Lloyd and Buddy are getting ready to go back down to Buddy's house to walk down and drink and sing and all this kinds of stuff. And Buddy says, "Where's Ariel? I got to tell her good night." So she's out back on the hammock, and he goes back there, and all of a sudden she screams, and he looked, and it's a pack of wild coyotes are attacking her in the hammock. So he immediately goes to her defense, and he's trying to stave off these wild coyotes who are trying to make a meal of Ariel in the hammock. And so he gets really torn up, and he and Jim he and Lloyd now becomes his caretaker at the end. So we've got Buddy recovering from some very serious wounds, coyote bite wounds in his legs and the muscles of his legs totally torn up. He was able to protect Ariel. She was not injured at all. And so now some of the things that they've learned, I think the doc they talk about Doc Bones. They did Jim studied some Doc Bones sewing techniques and learned how to do it on an amputated pig's foot. And so he sews Buddy up. Buddy's trying to get rehabilitated and get his strength back and everything else at the end of the book. So we see that kind of this buddy system working out there between the hippie guy and the anti-hippie guy. And really interesting how that dynamic is coming about, and they're becoming best of friends. But yeah, so he's mending there at the end. Ariel is fine, and can't wait to see what happens in the next book. Okay, there we go. Comments, thoughts, anything else? Let me see. Catch up with my stuff here. Let me get I don't know why I can't. Oh, by the way, I did a little bit of PM preventive maintenance. That's military talk for preventive maintenance on my camera. I hope things are looking a lot sharper tonight than they did Tuesday night. Oh, shenanigans. Yes, I'm sorry. There are some dark chocolate. I forget who makes it. I did get some dark chocolate, hot chocolate for Helen, and it had a very low carb content. But just 12 carbs or less, it's pretty good. So We can find you something. We'll keep our eye out. And next time I see it, I'll let you know about it. Oh wow, that's interesting. I haven't thought about that. I'm thinking about the opposite. I'm thinking about adding a little bit of hot chocolate to my coffee. So yeah, I'm well stocked on coffee as well. As a matter of fact, one of the things I found out, I had 18 cans of Costco coffee, and I'm down to where I only have like 6 or 7 left. But I've got jars of freeze dried and beans and everything. I probably have, with the way I drink coffee, a 5 to 7 year supply of coffee. Now, of course, as other people drink it with me, then that's going to go down. Um, we have a lot of Helen's coffee as well. So she likes the Keurig machine, and so she does the K cups, and she'll probably go through 2 or 3 of those a day. I like my pot, and then I like instant coffee. So whenever I get, and you'll probably see those in a lot of my prep pantry hauls, is when I go to Sam's Club or Costco, I'll get a jar or 2 of freeze-dried coffee. And when we go to Fort Hood, to the commissary, I like to pick up a box or 2 of Krunig, which is German coffee that we get there, and that's vacuum sealed and freeze-dried. So that's some good coffee as well. Absolutely great idea. Great idea. And the other thing about the single serve packets is that will be, in my opinion, a good barter item. I was at Walmart and they were closing out a brand of coffee, and they were in those little single serve. They looked like the tubes of sugar, and it was a tube type deal, and they were like 8 cents a cup. And so I bought everything they had, and I figured, well, if nothing else, if I don't like the taste of it, it's a barter item. We'll see how that goes. So, I am not that good on the bagged tea. I do, however, have a whole bunch of instant iced tea. And I don't like the lemon flavored stuff or anything added to it. It's very difficult to find. I just want the straight tea taste. Take all the flavorings out of it. So I'm very hard to please that way. So when I was on active duty, there were times with military coffee, and I mean super strong coffee. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I'd have it like this, touching my lips and fall asleep. Now, if I have caffeine after 6 p.m., I'm up all night. Yes, and you're absolutely right, Holly. And Belko talks about that, about Bic lighters and Zippo lighters, and that's why I have ordered like 5 or 6 or 7 Zippo lighter kits, and that's a can of Zippo lighter fluid. I can look that one up here. It's got some flints, extra flints, and then it's got oh, come on, computer, why don't you? Okay, come on. Let me get up here, and there we go. Zippo. I guess it would help if I put in Zippo lighter kit. There we go. There it is. So I bought this 3 times, it says. Let me get here. Over here, share screen. So I like the Bic with the short tube on it, and for candles. And I try to pick up one of those every time that I go to the store. I like the long handled um, Bic, like fireplace lighters, I guess we could call those. I try to pick up one of those at least once a month. And then, of course, when I had my store, I purchased the racks. This is when Sam still had the smoke shop. I purchased that entire rack of 50 Bic lighters. I've got 100 of the larger ones and 100 of the smaller ones. So those are out in the garage. So I've got probably 200 Bic lighters that I can trade as well. But this is the one. This is that kit. So it's $25 for a Zippo lighter. You got some extra flints, and then you've got a candle lighter fluid. So I ordered it 3 times. Let me see where we are. I would love to learn a little bit more about herbal medicines and tinctures and what do you call them? The essential oils. There we go. I would love to learn more about that. I need to study up on that. I need to get better in my communications first. So I have some. I'll probably do a video about that. What are my goals for 2024, and what are some of the things I learned from 2023, and then what are my goals in 2024, and what will I be looking for? And I can tell you, organizing my community is still going to be my number one goal of. For 2024. Yeah, shenanigans. And here's a funny story. They were on sale. I think it was a 3-pack. One of them with a flexible, two straight and one flexible. And so for some reason, Helen and I had different carts. And so I don't know. I guess I let her off at the door because it was raining or something. She went in with the cart, and then I went in with the cart, and we met and consolidated 2 carts. Both of us picked up those lighters that were on sale, and she knew that I wanted them, and I knew that I wanted them, and so we ended up getting put one of them back. But just the thought that she was thinking survivalism. Finally after 40 years of marriage. Gosh, can you believe it? The 16th of this month. I don't know what day of the week that is. But the 16th of this month, we've been married 40 years. Golly. Let's see, January 16th, Tuesday. So it's a week from next Tuesday. We've been married 40 years. Golly. How does she put up with me? Unbelievable. Absolutely. So, and Fiaxos points a good one here. You can get these, and they're rather inexpensive. It just looks like a little bit. It looks like a booze flask, okay, and it's small. It fits on your key ring. It's got a screw cap, so you fill up the inside with lighter fluid, and then the screw cap itself, when you pull it out, it has a striker, and then it has a little piece of cotton bunting on it. So that what happens is that cotton bunting's been soaked in the lighter fluid. You've got a striker plate on the side, so you take that and it makes its own sparks as you're rubbing it, lights that cotton bunting that has the lighter fluid in it. Fantastic piece of gear, and that will last you for a long time. And it's almost like having a little portable match. That's really fantastic. Great piece of kit. I recommend you add it to your bug out bag. You might even add it to your everyday carry. They aren't that expensive, maybe $1 or $2 or $3 when you find them. So the leaves and flowers can also be eaten raw, but get them young and seasoned with a little olive oil and vinegar. Roast the roots. I have a feeling we're talking about dandelions. Am I correct there? Yeah, I wish there was a valid reason too. Thank you, Holly. I appreciate that. We've done that. We've had one or two discussions about that, about emotional preparedness and what to do if you are, uh, when you catch yourself going into a state of um, frustration, over frustration. And one of the things that we continually talk about as we do that is we talk about the importance of understanding ahead of time that it could possibly happen, that things are going to be so dramatic that it could cause you to go into that. So being emotionally prepared ahead of time and understanding the trauma that you'll be exposed to and more or less preparing yourself emotionally ahead of time is one of the greatest things you can do to prepare for emotional trauma later. Um, and then, of course, uh, having people around you who understand emotional trauma and can help you through it is going to be just as important. So, um, I think so. I think it may be. Let me check here and see if I can find it on Amazon. Um, so this is a let me look up trench lighter. That may be the best way to look it up. So basically, the trench lighter is a little bit different. I did find it here. Gosh, they want $27 for it. Unbelievable. Um, but you'll see. I think you can find this a lot cheaper than this. They're saying $27 for one on Amazon. Calling it a Morris lighter. So here's that center portion I was telling you about that you fill up with lighter fluid. And then this is the striker. You unscrew it and pull it out. And this is what it looks like once you pull it out. So you have a striker area here, and then you've got your striker here. So basically it's just flint and steel. And then you've got your cotton wadding right here that's been soaked in lighter fluid that catches fire. So that's basically what it looks like. And I found this by looking up trench lighter. So thank you for that suggestion on that terminology. Princess Kicking Butt came up with a good name for us to look up there. So thank you very much. I don't know if it's a peanut lighter or not. I looked up what Princess Kicking Butt recommended, and that was trench lighter, and that it came up. So, well, that I think that's another very, very important part of it, Sandy, is having something, believing in something bigger than you are, and that becomes extremely important. Uh, oh, great! Thank you, Sandy. I don't know. Forgive me for just 1 second. Let me run and look. My apologies. I thought I might have one over there with my Zippo lighters in my storage room, and I guess it's in my fire starter. So I probably do that. That's I'm going to be doing some videos on food again. I'll pick that up. I've also got some tips. One of the tips is going to be fire starting equipment. I've got 3 humongous tubs of fire starting stuff, not counting my Zippo and some of the other lighters. But so I'll make sure that I include that in one of those videos, and I'll show that for you. Okay, so it looks like we are right at an hour. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you enjoyed the book as much as I did. I will have a new schedule out tomorrow, so I'll be modifying the description and everything, and trying to catch up with where we are in the books since I was out for 2 weeks with the cough. Oh wow, Princess Kicking Butt! My daughter's best friend works in pediatric ICU, and she says the same thing. That it's just and when I was working in the hospital, I used to be HR director for a hospital. The one thing that always concerned me was the oncology specialist. That has got to be a very futile job as well. So my prayers are for you. I'll keep you in my prayers. That is tough. That is an extremely tough job. So what we have here is we went yesterday and spent $20,000. But this is our trust-funded funeral. So we went yesterday and prepaid our funerals, did all the planning and songs and everything else, and it's going to be $10,000 each, and spent $20,000 yesterday planning our funerals and paying for them in advance, so that people won't have to worry about coming up with anything other than showing up. Everything else is going to be taken care of. So, okay, Numbers chapter 6. Gosh, I hope it's raining too, Diana. Numbers chapter 6, verses 24, 25, 26. Before I do that, don't forget, we're going to do volume 4 of Franklin Horton's book for the end of January. So we did volume 3 tonight. End of this month, we'll do volume 4, okay, of the Borrowed World series, okay. So Numbers chapter 6, verses 24, 25, 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and give you peace. Thank you all so much for being here. Happy New Year, our first get-together as far as the book club for this year. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate you. I hope that my preventive maintenance on the camera cleared things up from Tuesday night. I hope that my voice continues to improve as we go along. And just remember that we're all in this together so we can come out the other side together. Please be kind, polite, and respectful to each other. Start thinking now. Get your head on straight now. Find something that is bigger than you are. Find a reason that you need to exist. The world needs you. I know they need you. I know we need you. You know you're needed. But now what we need to identify is why. What is it you have to offer nobody else has to offer that we need to keep you alive regardless of what happens during SHTF? So I just want you to know I need you. I need you as a partner. I need you as a friend. I need you as a fellow worker in the post-apocalyptic world. And that's why we need to be kind, polite, and respectful to each other, because we depend upon each other, and we're going to get through this together in the end. So thanks everybody for being here. Happy New Year. I will see you Monday night. We'll pick up on the 11th through 15th amendments of the U.S. Constitution. Tuesday night, we're going to start chapter 1 of Grid Down, and then We won't do a fiction book club until last Thursday this month. Take care, everybody. God bless. Please be safe and stay warm. Take care. Bye-bye.